Wholesome Roots. Today I've been asked to participate in a collaboration where you get to learn a little bit more about me. Today's collaboration is called Our Homestead World. And this is a collaboration that's designed to get a big picture of all the different homesteads and all the different regions of the world. Whether it's a different country or a different state, you get to learn a little bit more about each one of us and where we homestead and what makes it different. This collaboration is sponsored by Liz Zorab in the UK and Danny and Wanda of Deep South Homestead in Mississippi. In this collaboration, I'm going to answer a series of 15 questions about my homestead world. Question number 1. Where in the world are you? I am located in the United States. My state is Georgia. My county is Coweta County. My town is just outside of Noonan. I say Noonan because most people can find that on a map, whereas my smaller town just south of it is a little bit harder to see on a map. And we are about 10 minutes south of the downtown Noonan Square. The second question is, where approximately is your homestead located? Well, I think I just pretty much answered that in the question 1. So I answered a little bit further detail in that. So I already answered number 2. Number 3, what is the size of your homestead? Our homestead is a rented property. It was an old farm, and it is just over 14 acres. With about 3 of those acres is a pond, and only about half of it is land that we can actually use because the other half of the property is on the other side of the pond and it's unreachable by a vehicle. We can hike back there, but it's pretty much impossible at this point to do anything other than that. Number 4, is your homestead rural or urban? We are definitely rural. We're very rural. We're out in the country. Our road has a little bit of traffic because it's a cut through that a lot of people use as a shortcut, but it's pretty rural where we are. Most of the properties are large and have some type of farm animals or gardens and such in our area. What is the climate and weather like? We live in the South. It is hot and humid all summer long, and we have a very short winter. Our winters don't get very much snow, hardly ever. This winter we got a little bit more snow than usual. Usually we don't get below 20 degrees on our coldest in the winter, but we've been known to have days in the 70s in the winter. So it's a pretty nice, humid, warm climate, I would say. What is the growing season? So our growing season is generally around, the last frost is around April 15th, April 10th to 15th. I usually start looking at my 10-day forecast on April 1st and determine if I'm ready to plant my tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, the hot season things. In the fall, we get our last frost, usually very late October, beginning November. I think technically on the calendar, it states October 20-something, but it's not always then. So we tend to have a later frost than the calendar forecast for our last frost, our first frost. Number 7, do you have any animals? Oh yes, we have a lot of animals. We have a herd of dairy goats. We have 22 goats, we have 15 ducks, we have 65 chickens, we have 12 quail, we have 7 partridge, we have a turkey. I think that's all the outside animals. And then we have a couple of dogs, cats, and a parrot. We are a very animal-filled household. Number 8, what fruits, veggies, grains do you grow? We mainly grow vegetables. We're adding in fruits. We started a fruit orchard when we first moved here, but it has not done well at all. So we're actually looking at digging up all of those fruit trees and moving them to a better location. But we grow lots and lots of veggies. 9, how do you grow your crops? We do beyond organic, I would say. It's not organic in the sense that we use lots of products still, like some of the organic farms, but we use very little product. If we have to use a product, it's going to be organic for sure. But we use hilled beds. So we would use raised beds if we could build them, if we had enough energy and resources to actually build them up into raised beds with wooden borders, but we hill them up and we concentrate all of our nutrients into those beds. So we put lots and lots of decomposed goat manure into those beds, and then we mulch with wood chips, hay, leaves, cardboard, newspaper, whatever we can get our hands on. Number 10, do you sell any produce, animals, or things you create for income? We are trying to get to the point where we are selling more. We've been selling eggs and milk and goats and chickens and chicks for a couple of years now, but just to friends and family and people who ask. This year I intend to go to the farmer's market with my eggs, milk, and produce. So crossing fingers that that really works out for us. 11, do you grow solely for your own needs? No, currently mostly, but we share a lot with friends. Number 12, do you have health issues that impact your or guide your homesteading? Do they affect how you live and work your land? I wouldn't say that we have health issues, but I think a lot of our reasons for doing this is for our health, to keep our health strong, to keep our immune system strong, to not be eating pesticide-ridden food. I do have some serious back issues. I have 4 herniated discs and pinched nerves and all the whole 9 yards. So I was working as a full-time gardener at a organic vegetable garden that was growing produce for a farm-to-table restaurant. I had to stop doing that because my back could not handle 40 hours a week managing a garden. So now I pick and choose what I can do out there. It's not always in the best shape. I had to maintain a vegetable garden that looked pretty for guests to come walking through and tours and stuff. So that required 40 hours a week. Now I get the plants in the ground and I hope to get the weeds out. I hope to get the mulch down to prevent the weeds in the first place. But I require a lot of help from Ryan and on his days off when he's not working at the greenhouses. Number 13, how long have you been homesteading? Literally my entire life. I was raised in a homesteading family and we homesteaded heavily. We were a very sustainable family as a child. We had goats and chickens and the whole 9 yards. And then when I went off to college, I kind of moved away from it a little bit. But even then, when I lived in an apartment, I had tomato plants growing on my patio. I never gave up my love for the homesteading life. And I would go to the farmer's market and get strawberries and make jellies and jams. So I've always been doing some type of growing or canning of some sort. We've had animals on and off for the last 15 years. So, and this last 3 years is when we intensively started homesteading. When I started staying home and we moved to this property where we had room to do as much as we do now. Do you like homesteading? I love it. It is the hardest job in the world. It is not always easy. It has a lot of trials and tribulations, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because the benefits and the payoff is so worth it in my heart. Number 15, what homestead activity do you like the most? Ooh, that's a hard one. I would have to say probably the harvest. Not just the harvest of produce, but the harvest of the milk and the eggs. I think that I enjoy what we get from the land. What we get from all our hard work makes it so worthwhile that milking the goats and picking vegetables and collecting eggs feels so rewarding to me. So it makes it feel all worthwhile. All right, that's it. So I want to say thank you to Liz Zorab of Byther Farms and Deep South Homestead. I will leave a link to their channels in the description down below, and I will be creating a playlist for this collaboration and putting it in my playlist, and I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. You know the drill. We'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.